After many years of waiting, we are finally getting a brand new Herpa Wings release of a Fokker 100. The question is just, how brand new is this model really? And with that, hello and welcome to what I can promise you is a brand new episode of Review. Today we will take a closer look at a Fokker 100 of Helvetic Airways. At the front of the box we have the cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and at the top of the box we have the Helvetic branding. The backside of the box is just as uninspired and dreadful as all recent boxes from Herpa Wings, so the only thing of interest to really have here is simply the fact that it is a limited edition. And here she is, the Fokker 100 in the current standard livery of Helvetic Airways. Now the first thing you have to know is that this aircraft does not fly around like this anymore. Herpa is simply coming very late to the game. Of course, one of the reasons why Herpa is so late is the fact that the Fokker 100 mold that Herpa was using broke a few years ago, and Herpa has just not been able to fix it until now. Quite incredible, but nonetheless, now they have fixed it. Let's see if this model is any good. And we start off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the Helvetic branding. This consists of, as with many other Swiss-based airlines, the Swiss cross. In my opinion, Herpa has however not quite managed to do this right. The Swiss cross is a little bit too big and placed far too far back on the stabilizer, so Herpa could definitely have done a better job with that. Where they've done alright is when we look at the other side, where we can find a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. That does look quite nice. And then the Fokker 100 of course has the engines mounted at the back of the fuselage, and unfortunately there are also a few bones to pick here. When we take a quick look at the nacelles, we can see we have the silver leading edge, we have the full registration code. That looks just fine. I am not really impressed with the detailing when we look at them from the backside. I think that could and should look much better in the year 2020. And what is a really big disappointment for me is the fact when we look into the engines from the front, we have no detailing inside the engines. Again, this is a 2020 release. This is not good enough, Herpa. When we then take a look at the front of the aircraft, we can see across the fuselage the writing of Helvetic Airways. We also have a little bit of detailing at the cockpit doors, but that's about it. Also, the cockpit section is quite lackluster. Here we have the cockpit windows and the window wipers, and in my opinion the cockpit windows are just a bit too big. And when these are the only details we get, then they should at least make them right. On the fuselage, just above the wings, we then have the emergency exits printed on, which leads us straight to the wings, which is a good thing because here we at least get a little bit of detailing. If we start off here with the top side, we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out. We also have the markings for the emergency exit printed on, and overall I think the wings look pretty decent. I think Herpa has done a great job with those. Also, when we look at the underside, I think that's pretty much all right. Here we also find the full registration code of the aircraft once again. Unfortunately, it looks like the time and effort that went into the wings was then saved with the landing gear, because that is literally the same landing gear that Herpa used for their Fokker 100s in the 1990s. They haven't reworked this landing gear in the 3 to 4 years where they haven't produced a single Fokker 100. And that itself is quite unbelievable. And then last but not least, we do at least have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here in the backside of the aircraft. And here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Fokker 100 in the current livery of Helvetic Airways from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Well, for a long time I couldn't make up my mind whether I wanted to buy this model or not, because when it was first announced I was really excited finally again to see a Helvetic Airways aircraft model from Herpa Wings. On the other hand, at that time it was already known that the Fokker 100 would leave the Helvetic fleet. And of course, before Herpa actually managed to release the model, the aircraft type was long gone. Nonetheless, I decided to buy the model because I thought, hey, at least it can work for my Cardiff series. And I was thinking that, Herpa has been working on the new Fokker mold for like 3 or 4 years. Surely this will be a great model. boy was I wrong. Because they haven't changed a thing. This is a 1990s model that they're selling in 2020. But of course for the 2020 prices, which are ridiculous. And if they at least then had made everything right on the aircraft model, I would say maybe you can think about it. But not even that, because the landing gear looks hideous. The cockpit windows are too big. The plastic parts we have on the stabilizers and the engines do not have the same white color as the fuselage, which they should have. The Swiss cross on the vertical stabilizer is too big and placed wrongly. And the amount, or I should say lack of detailing of the engines is pathetic. The only two good things this model has are the wings and the fact that it has the Helvetic livery. And I don't think this is enough. So I would have loved to say that this aircraft model is worth having in one's collection. I myself was even getting a little bit excited about this model. I was looking forward to it, but the more time I'm spending with it, the more disappointed I get. So with this rather underwhelming conclusion, it is time to end today's video. If you have enjoyed the video nonetheless, I would very much appreciate a like, and of course if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.